We had the derby. So we'll start with that derby d'Italia, 4-4 finish. Zielinski with a couple of penalties, in the 15th and the 37th. But after the 15th minute, it was Juve who took control as Dusan Vlahovic in the 20th, followed by Weah in the 26th. And then Henrik Mkhitaryan. I mean, that was a classic Henrik Mkhitaryan goal in the 35th minute, followed by a Zielinski penalty in the 37th. That made it 3-2. Dumfries scoring in the 53rd. And then Thiago Motta realizes he's got this wonder kid on the bench named Kenan Yildiz, 19-year-old Turkey international. And he scores twice and ends a memorable derby, 4-4, Inter and Juventus. I'm going to give you my take right away, Richard, and you can tell me if you agree with me or not. I mean, for all of the action and for all the activity and for as entertaining and as memorable a derby it was, I'm going to say this: Inter dropped 2 points here. I think now when you take a look at them, and sure, they beat Roma, but who isn't beating Roma right now? Sorry, Vincent. They lose the derby. They drop points here. It's almost as if in some cases these teams are kind of cracking the code with Inter now all of a sudden. And it makes, it's a reason why repeating in Serie A with how good these teams have all gotten is really, really hard to do. And, now, I think Inter dropped 2 points here. Incredible chance after incredible chance. Even at 4-2 up, they had a chance to be at 5-2 and even 6-2. With some of the opportunities that they had. Di Gregorio had to make a couple of miraculous saves, to give Juventus a chance. And then, I think the naivety with which Inter defended really all of Juventus's goals, it was uncharacteristic. You didn't see these holes in Inter last season the way they're showing up now. And I think that Juventus punished them for it. And Apex is making a great comment about Inter not having Hakan Çalhanoğlu, but it's that it being a different team without their structure. But this was a drop. This is 2 points lost. They were winning 4-2. A Simone Inzaghi Inter sees this game out and makes the tactical changes to do so, and it didn't happen here.
Yeah, it's funny because before this game, I was like, oh, the Derby Italia. I was like, oh, I'll just watch it on replay. And then I'm like, you know what? I should probably watch this live. And I did. I'm glad I did. It was, first of all, for the neutral, for us, what a game. 4-4, getting goals galore. We could predict, we always predict these high-scoring games and never get them. This game, we thought maybe be like a 0-0, 1-1 game, given their history and how good they are in the league. And, man, 4-4. Pure entertainment, one of the most entertaining games in history in Derby Italia, no doubt about it. I think last one was in the 50s, if I remember correctly, like 54 or something. But yeah, if you look at it, if you take a step back and look at it from like a tactical view, I mean, your point's right. Like Inter dropped 2 points. They had a 2-goal lead at the end. They had a couple 2-goal leads. They could have scored a lot more goals, a lot of missed opportunities. So they blew that. And the one thing I stuck away from this game, from both teams, is their defenses are so bad. This is a very uncharacteristic Juve and Inter defenses, both giving up goals galore. I mean, to their credit for both their teams is like their attacks are pretty good. We know Inter's is good. And Juve, now they're figuring out that they have a good offense and they keep that Yildiz kid in there or even sprinkle him in on the substitution like they did in this game. Yeah. Get some good attacking prowess. But defensively, both the teams are wow. Like even the goalkeepers were bad in this game, I thought. They made some saves. But really, it was the midfield and attack that really drove the game for both teams, and it was pure entertainment. I loved every minute of it. Super fun. I wish we had some red cards in there or like some fights in there. We came close a couple times, but man, it was really great to see and missed opportunities both ways. And I think you see how good Inter. I think Inter are the best, one of the best teams in the league from entertainment standpoint, at least. Yeah. And then Juve, I think they took a lot from that Leipzig game where they were down to 10 men, came back and won that game. They've been a different team, it seems like, confidence-wise, where they can go down and they just keep pushing, and eventually they get back into the games, sometimes get the results they want, like in this game. So both teams are in good places. Mm-hmm. Fun game to watch, but they have some things to work on, very Inzaghi, like as you said, and Thiago Motta's not going to want to see this, at all, too, with 4 goals allowed. So yeah, what a game. What a game.
Okay, here's some of my sub comments. that I have from what I saw in this game. First of all, I think the game is getting too fast for Danilo. The
He's making
penalty on Thuram, and then getting sent off midweek against Stuttgart. And I think that the guys in the chat are saying, Bremer being injured, that is it. That is a huge loss. I mean, you felt the effects over the last couple of games that Danilo is just not the guy that can deputize, in that role, and it's going to have to force. And I don't think identity-wise, Thiago Motta wants to change the way he plays. I don't think he wants to start getting into some sort of Catenaccio system where they have to cover around Danilo. If this was Allegri, they would have been a lot more compact. Okay, they would have tried to, and it would have been a positioning thing with Danilo where he would have been a lot more comfortable. But here, where they're trying to, play, in a very similar way to how, Thiago Motta had them playing, had Bologna playing a season ago, it exposes a player like Danilo when he has to deputize in the back. Okay, what did Bologna have last season that they were able to have so much success? They had Calafiori, so if they did get stretched, okay, they had the safety of his performances. They had the safety of, Boykes. When you don't have Bremer, when you don't have that defender that you rely upon to be able to, to get it done, Allegri would have lost 7-2. I don't think so. There's no chance this game's even 4. There's no chance this game's even 4-4 if Allegri was managing.
No,
it's 1-1 maybe. Okay, so. So I guess that might be a redeeming thing to why to Allegri not being Juve manager anymore. But the game's too fast for him. Okay, I talked about Mkhitaryan. What have we said about him? We have said this about him so much. At what he does and that type of goal, one of the best 5 players in the world at that. You've got, and this is the confusion, and this was part of the problem. You've got Danilo and you got Kalulu, and they've got to deal with the center forwards. So what do you do if you're going to play with 2 center backs against Inzaghi's 3-5-2 with his 2 strikers? You need midfielders to be able to track back, and you better know where Mkhitaryan is because he has made his living throughout the years at exploiting the spaces that the forwards leave. And this is a beautiful 1-2 combination that he played with Thuram. Midfielders didn't come back and stay with him. And I can't remember the midfielder that he played around on that 1-2, but that midfielder just kind of froze instead of just immediately retreated to a space where he could depend on. That is what Mkhitaryan has done his entire career and has exploited that and scored. I think, one of the 5 best in the world and among the best all time in that particular role as a midfielder. There hasn't been many and he's done it everywhere he's gone. Borussia Dortmund, Man United, Inter, Roma when he was at Roma. So a vintage Mkhitaryan goal. And then my other comment is that Kenan Yildiz took his chances like he's been playing this game for 10 years. The first one I was far more impressed with. Usually a 19-year-old in that situation is looking around for help or looking around for support, looking for the forward, looking for somebody to play to or combine. He went forward with the ball, and give him a lot of credit here in that moment and in that situation. He went forward. Dumfries kept retreating back, okay? And Yildiz makes a very mature decision. He said, all right, you're not going to confront me. I'm going to take my chance now, okay? And he finishes it. I mean, because and that is the sign of a mature attacking player, to recognize that situation. Say, all right, you don't want to come up and defend me where I can try to beat you with pace. You're going to keep dropping off. I'm going to hit it now. Okay. And I think he did a very similar thing on the tying goal. Yildiz player of the match. Definitely. You could argue that Di Gregorio should get some credit because he kept Juve in this game with some of the saves that he had to make to help rescue the point. But I thought those were some things that came away that were really eye-opening to me. Just the maturity of Yildiz. And I don't know if it was Dumfries was just expecting support or expecting somebody to recover to be able to deal with him, and it never came. But these are things that were figured out at Inter last season, kind of coming back to that topic. So those were my three sub points. I think the game's too fast for Danilo now. Mkhitaryan continues to score and continues to make his living scoring goals exactly like that. And then Yildiz, for being 19, attacks with such maturity, and such poise.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because You wonder why he didn't get to start in the game. Maybe it's a tactical decision by Thiago Motta, and we know what the reason why Gatti didn't play. Again, tactical decision. But what we saw, you have two guys when Yildiz is in there with him and Conceição who really are playmakers, X factors who can take on the defense. We saw what Conceição did against Leipzig, same thing where he just comes in and goes after the defense and creates opportunities. We've seen that with Yildiz, absolutely. And then, this team, I think Cabal had a really good game in this.
I like Cabal.
He had a great pass. Was it to Vlahovic, I think, for the first goal or something? I forget what it was, but wonderful pass there. Maybe it was a Tim Weah. Either way, it's just the way Thiago Motta has these guys play, and I've been saying this all season long. Like, they look really beautiful the way they play. They string passes together. It's that finishing ability that wasn't there. We saw it in this game. Vlahovic has been a guy who's been considered as the guy who's not a big game player, doesn't really show up, but he's been showing up lately in some of the big games. We showed up in Leipzig. He showed in this game. Got a great goal there. Really, at times, seems like he's carrying the team, with the lack of support. But in this game, he had the support, especially when Yildiz came on. I thought the kid playing way above his weight. I don't know what the English commentary was saying during the game. I was watching the Italian commentary or listening to the Italian commentary, but Yildiz, I imagine that the comment was, like Yildiz is probably the number 10 shirt, the Del Piero shirt, the number weighs heavy on him. It's such a young kid to have a number 10 like that, especially with a club like Juventus. And in this game, he popped up and showed up like, "Hey, I am a number 10. Look at me."
He earned it. I don't want to jump ahead. I don't want to go crazy and jump ahead of things. But if you want to just have one game where you earn the right to wear that number for Juventus, this was the game.
Yeah.
And this was
there you go. You go. So, no, wonderful there by the Juventus player. But then you look at the Inter side. I thought Lautaro had a little bit of a quiet game. I thought Thuram was involved. DiMarco, obviously Hakan and Zelinski, I thought deputized well in that Hakan vice role, what people are calling it. Barella was in there. Dumfries involved. Obviously, early got the goal. But again, the defense is so. We know how bad the Juventus played. Especially Danilo and Kalulu. Danilo in particular, but with Juventus, with Inter, De Vrij was poor. I think the back three in general was missing something, and it's very un-Allegri. Like, I thought Sommer was a little slow to balls. I thought a couple plays he could have put away. I thought he could have done better on both of Yildiz's goals. Yildiz, great finish, no doubt about it. Great placement. He could have done better, I thought, in those plays. So I thought he was like, it was very un-Sommer like, but giving up 4 goals is very un-Inter like. They should have had the win. They're going to kick themselves, and the way Napoli started off the season. Many people already mentioned in the chat, Conte is the ultimate winner of this derby because, you had a chance, really Inter had a chance to put the foot on the throat of Serie A and say, look, we are the champions. We're going to be there to the end. And now there's a little bit of wiggle room there with Napoli and Conte has won the Derby d'Italia for both these teams, right? And now he's basically the winner of this game too. And so, yeah, I think both these teams have given a formula to Napoli to play against them now and score some goals against them. So, who knows when Bremer's going to come back? It's a pretty serious injury. Are they going to are Juve going to replenish in January to kind of fill that void? I don't know. Are Inter going to figure it out with the De Vrij thing? I don't know. So Conte is the big winner out of this, but there's a super, super fun game to watch, Frank.
Yeah, for sure. And Reno, how do I know that this would have been like a 1-1 under Allegri? Well, this particular Derby d'Italia had more goals than the last 5 Derby d'Italias combined.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy.
And then so and in the last 6 Derby d'Italias leading up to this, they've all been under 2.5 goals. So, which is kind of the benchmark that you're looking for. The odds that there's going to be a lot of goals and or some attacking play and that sort of thing. So, Eduardo's saying that Inter can't afford to lose any more games. Well, yeah, it is a long season. I mean, let's remember that, Napoli have played 10 games. A lot of others have played 9 so far. We got some games tomorrow. We've got some games on Thursday.
Look at these last 5 results here. 1-0, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-0.
Yeah.
Low scoring games. This is all under Allegri.
Murder ball with Allegri. Now, granted, you go down a little further. The one after is Juve winning 2-0, and then there was I think it was a Copa game where Inter won 4-2 after extra time.
Yeah.
And I think they got the extra goals after Allegri got sent off. So, Yeah, so I think that's why Reno, just to let you know. So